Happy New Year again. We're still in the new year. We still made it. We're still here. It's 2025. It is Friday at the Fashion Crimes podcast with your favorite personal stylist, Holly Cates. Let's keep it real. Let's be honest. What's happening, y'all? I have had a plethora of interviewees come my way, and I'm very excited about that. Y'all have heard a couple of interviews. You've heard me talk. You've heard me talk about spring trends, what's hot, what's in, how to not make you look old, and everything in between. But today we have a fellow sister personal stylist with us that I'm very excited to introduce because I found her through my Philadelphia designer spotlight, and somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody else knew her, and I opened up her profile. I was like, she gonna get to know me whether she likes it or not. So I would like to introduce a huge Fashion Crimes podcast welcome to the closet consultant, Shannan Allen from Philadelphia. Of course, welcome to the Fashion Crimes podcast.
Thank you. And thank you for having me, Holly. I
Oh my
appreciate it.
gosh. Of course. It's so nice to meet you.
You
It
too.
is so nice to meet you. Your profile, I'm not hating it. Let's just start there. Okay. Your profile is very informative. It's very how to do this, how to do that. I got very interested in you. I stalked you. You are sweet enough to come on the show. And I just want to talk with you a little bit about, first of all, who are you and how did you get started in this? And you have the gift of style, which a lot of women have, but let's keep it real. Most don't.
Right.
So start at the beginning.
Okay. So the beginning for me, fashion wise, it actually started mid 30s in regards to the business. So I didn't start very young when I started doing this. It was interning because I am in Philly. It's easy for me to travel back and forth to New York. So long story short, I was interning with wardrobe stylists at the time in New York, video shoots, photo shoots, with different musicians in the business. Loved it in the beginning, but I also felt like it was very cutthroat. And I was like, okay, this is not going to be for me. I wasn't feeling, really feeling it too much anymore. I kind of just did a pushback from it, just kind of stopped doing it altogether and really stopped doing it for like years, actually. Even though I did have a passion for it, for fashion, I just felt like it had to be something else for me. And that light bulb moment that kind of sparked was a lot of times working with other women, they were always asking me, where do you shop at? I love your style. Like, could you, can you style me? And that's kind of like, okay, I think I know where I need to position myself. And that's really how the personal style aspect came into play for me. And give me about a year or two, I decided that I was just going to go all out while I was working a corporate job. I gave myself about a year and a half. In that year and a half, I quit the job, I saved up, and I never looked back.
I
And
love that. I love
here
that.
we
What
are.
what was your corporate job? This is how most people usually start out styling. What was your corporate job?
Well, this job was like an insurance, which I hated. It was more like medical insurance. Now,
Uh-huh.
prior to that, because after like kind of September 11th, the best job I ever had that I ended up losing was working in radio. So that was
Oh.
also a big help for me because I knew people. That's how I started working with certain people, even in New York, because I knew a lot of people in the radio industry that was in New York. So that was a major plus. But after that, it was more so, job. I wasn't crazy about it. I was good at it, but I knew it wasn't something that I was going to be at forever. It was just a temporary solution to take care of bills, honestly.
Now I hear you. I hear you. It's very hard when creative people are in corporate
Oh,
because
extremely.
that was my struggle and it was rough. It was rough because you have to do what you have to do to eat, but you're like, I would love to do this, I would love to do that, but having the strength and courage to do that is another story. So I'm
Right.
really, I commend you for taking the leap of faith and look at you now, right?
Yes. The hardest
So,
thing I ever had to do.
oh, I'm sure. So people say, okay, I love your style. And is it because you enjoy getting dressed? Have you grown up around fashion and clothes? Are you just good? What's your shtick here?
Now, I always love fashion. My mother, hands down, even to this day in her 80s, can dress like top notch all the time. So for me, that's where it started from because I saw it in my household. I know sometimes that's not the case with everyone, but for me, it definitely was. And the funny thing is, I went to high school and grade school up until I got to college. I was dressing in uniforms. I went to Catholic school almost my whole life.
Oh, wow.
So, for me, the thrill was trying to figure out how to make this uniform that I'm looking like 2,000 other girls in this high
Hmm.
school look different. So I would always play around with, adding this little accessories, the handbags I wore, even down to my black and white shoes. So I always loved fashion. And then I look forward to the weekends because then that's when I could really shine and like put on my clothes. So it definitely started at a young age for me. And I think too, I never had an issue where it was hard for me to style. It's like it just kind of came natural, honestly. So I never really struggled with it.
That's good. And then your friends are always like, "What about this? Do you like this? What can you help me buy that? Da, 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 da. What do you think about these shoes?" I mean, that's what happens to me a lot.
Right.
Um, okay, so you went to college and obviously you had a career, and then you're like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm gonna do what I want to do. So you started out styling, and tell me some common issues that you were seeing with your clients.
The biggest issue that I find with clients overall is losing their sense of style. And that can happen from so many different reasons, from a lifestyle change. I think weight gain is probably one of the biggest ones that I hear from clients that they struggle with. And also now, at the age that we're at, a lot of my clients are in menopause. So you're seeing this fluctuation in weight. They're not really sure how to now dress their body. They're not comfortable in their body. And if you're not really sure about your body type, it that also plays a role in not understanding how to put looks together and feel good about what you wear. So that would definitely be the biggest issue that I find.
And then when people are not happy with their body, don't you agree that it just snowballs into other parts of their lives?
Oh, definitely. It's definitely a trickle down. It's just definitely a trickle down effect. I feel like when you're not happy with what you look like on the outside, it plays a role in everything else in your life. It really does.
I think it's really hard for people to change and accept the change, especially if they don't want the change and or they didn't ask for the change, right?
Right. That's definitely true.
And when you hit menopause, I haven't hit menopause yet. When you hit menopause, it's everything from mood to appetite to sleep to all these different things, and you're still supposed to be fabulous and sexy, and it's not easy. So, how do you coach people? What are some of the things that you do?
For me, it's just being very encouraging. I am 54, so a lot of times most of my clients initially don't think I'm the same age as them, and some of them I'm actually older than. Now,
Yeah.
although I personally have not completely crossed over it as far as the changes in menopause, I've had some little symptoms here and there. I think now I'm kind of slowly, gradually getting into menopause, but for me, knowing that friends and family have already gone through this process, it's just really being that discerning ear of letting them know, how fabulous they are, regardless of what's going on with their body. I'm a big advocate on loving the body that you have right now, regardless of what that looks like. Because I think women, we tend to want to wait. And I know I see this a lot. It's like, well, once I lose that 10 pounds, that 15 pounds, then I'll be ready or I'll be ready to dress the way that I want. And I'm like, no, no, no. We're going to still dress for the body right now, whatever that looks like. I don't care if you have about 5 or 10 pieces and you just want to rotate those pieces, but you need to actually dress for the body that you have. Because if you don't love where you are, again, that's just going to gravitate into everything else. So my philosophy is, do you want to continue to be miserable in every aspect of your life because you're not dressing the way that you really want, because you're waiting to lose that 10 or 15 pounds? We need to still dress for that body now. So I just continue just encourage them throughout this whole process. And they tend to, let their guard down and be more open to the fact of enjoying, and loving where they are.
I love that you said that because I couldn't agree more, A. And B, you have to dress for the body you have today, not 10 pounds from now, not 15 pounds from yesterday. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
And I always say if the worst thing that happens to you is you lose weight, you have to get your pants taken in, that's a good problem to have.
That's a great problem.
That's a good problem. So don't get so hung up on what you haven't done yet
Right.
because you ain't done that yet. Okay. If you're actively losing weight, great. But you're going to be this weight for another couple of weeks. And you lose weight, you gain weight. That's life. That's shit happens. And
Absolutely.
everybody gains weight. Models gain weight. Everybody gains weight. Everybody loses weight. So it's not that uncommon. And I think it's very isolating when you do gain weight because you're like, I feel like I'm doing all the right things or I'm doing most of the right things and I'm still gaining weight. What's the problem? And it
Right.
can be hormones, it can be stress, it can be cortisol, which is a stress hormone that a lot of women aren't familiar with. That's why you get that menopause
Right.
pooch there. And again, there's just a million things, but I love that you said that. I also love what you said about how your mom always looked fly. And, my mother always looks great and she looks dressed and she's put together. And
Always.
always. And because she's been on the retail floor for so long, and it's just what you do. And if you don't grow up like that, how would you know?
You wouldn't,
How
you
would
really
you
wouldn't.
know? And so can you talk to people, can you talk to us about you look great. Your mom looks great. You know how to dress because you just grew up that way. What do you tell people who are just starting out? I mean, how do you start from zero with somebody?
Well, the first thing I always tell them, regardless, is don't beat yourself up. It's a process. And even working with me and working with my clients, it is a process. It's just not, oh, let's go shopping. We do so
Right.
many steps before we get there that's literally the last thing that we do.
That is a hot
So,
tip. That, John,
yeah.
can we get a hot tip alarm bell here? That is a hot tip.
Yes, you have to start at ground zero. So I think that allows them to be more comfortable because now they don't feel like they have to know every single thing. I already know that you don't, and that's okay. And that's what I'm here for. I'm going to educate you, I'm going to help you, I'm going to walk through this process with you so this way you have more clarity on even what you want your personal style to be, but you also have to be open-minded. So that's really important in order to gauge and understand where that level of personal style is going to be for that client. And just always having those conversations and letting them know that I'm always here and available and open. It just makes that very easy for me. So that transition, I haven't really found it to be difficult. I might have had one client that just just all the way was to the left,
Uh-huh.
but outside of that, I find that that is what eases them into being open and receiving of understanding the levels of personal style.
And again, it's not that uncommon if you're
It's
just
not.
not sure. It's not that uncommon. So okay, so you've met the client, so she needs, help getting clothes and figuring out what she likes. Do you do closet clean outs? And if you do, give us some detail work. Or give us a couple of stories about some of your horrors and some do's and don'ts.
Well, I definitely do. I have a signature package. So this is how I start with any of my clients that come to work with me. And one of the first things we do outside of that one-on-one consultation first is the closet edit. To me, that's just a must. I need to know where you are in order for us to get where we want to go. And if I can't see your closet, then me just shopping for you is not going to resonate because it's just buying clothes at that point to me.
Amen. I call that putting a band-aid on your bad style because
Yes,
how would I know what your problems are and what your issues are if I don't see what I can't just magically know what you like. It just doesn't work like
exactly.
that.
Yeah, it doesn't. And, so I already prepared them, whether I'm doing it in person or if we're doing it virtually, I already have my clients, kind of set up so I can see their closet. We can see what's going on. And it's just a walkthrough. So I make sure that they are a part of this whole process. This way, I'm alleviating anything and eliminating, I'm sorry, anything that does not work for them. So that's first and foremost. We go through that. Then I have a space where I say, okay, those maybe piles. We'll do a maybe. I'll have them try it on. Now, I might say, we need to let this go, but that client may still be on the fence a little bit. So in those instances, I make sure that they put that aside. I give them a time frame that they need to try that on again, see how they really feel about it, but they'll make that determination whether they want to keep it or not because I already said we need to let it go. So at that point, they make the final decision, not me, on what
Hmm.
they want to do with it. And then I always say they may have those how-to pieces. The how-to pieces are the pieces that they might really love it or even like it, but they don't know how to put it together in a look. So we separate that as well, and we'll put that aside because then I am going to help them style those pieces so that they have clarity on how to put those together. And then the last bit or part of that is what's missing, those gap pieces. So now that we've going through the whole closet, now I can see maybe where those are going to be gaps in their wardrobe that we need to fill. And that could just be simply pieces that we let go of because they were dated,
Hmm.
they didn't like them, and we're just going to add something more elevated or statement pieces that they may need at that point. So it's definitely a process.
Now, do you tell me, sorry, are you creating outfit formulas for people like this goes with it and then you leave it together? How do you show people what goes with what?
Well, what I do is that, and this is really with my clients, it's always towards the end. So even after we've actually done, say, all of the shopping, we've selected all of those pieces. If it's virtually, they will upload those pieces to me, and that includes those how-tos. So any of those pieces they weren't sure how to put together, all of those are going to be included. And it's basically like a closet for them, a wardrobe closet. But what I do is from there, I actually put all together those looks together for them. So they are outfit formulas based off of the things that we talked about for their lifestyle, whether it's for work, casual, going out, whatever that looks like for that individual client. All of those looks will be put together for them and they have access to it because it's like a PDF file. They can just pull it right up on their phone. They don't even
So
have
it's a
to think
picture.
about it.
So it's a
Yep.
picture.
So it's going to be a picture. Yep.
Okay, that's great. Now, tell me the worst closet you've ever seen.
Oh gosh. It's, it's a lot of them.
I know. Can you pick just one? I'll start. I'll go. I'll go.
Okay.
Okay. The worst closet I've ever seen in my life was when I make everybody, people that I'm mean. You're much nicer than me. When
I
I,
don't know if I'm that nice though when I do
when you're,
closet edits.
when you have too much stuff, I make you pull everything out and the amount of clothes, I call it a mountain of clothes that I had on this woman's bed with the tag still on it. And she bursted into tears. I mean, she was a puddle on the floor. And I just said, all this money, you just flushed it down the toilet. And if we add up these price tags, of how much money you have spent because you're clearly filling a void for some reason of whatever works, doesn't work, whatever your story is. And we got rid of all of it. And so some of it we kept. That's not true. We
Right.
got rid of a lot of it. We sold some of it back, whatever. But the point is, when you accumulate and you still don't know what to wear, you just you're really burying yourself in your own grave. And on the opposite of that, when people think they're smarter than you and they
Mm.
and they have nothing. They have nothing. I walked into one lady's closet. I said, "This place has been hit. Where are your clothes?" And she's like, I said, "It looks like you've been robbed." Like, I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
And because she had nothing, because she thought she was cute and she didn't need this and she wanted to streamline. I said, now you've really screwed up because now you have nothing to choose from.
Right.
And I get your intention. I applaud you for that. But when you get rid of everything and you have nothing, then you have to start over. Then you have to spend money because
Right.
you don't know what's good, what's not good, and you've already made that decision for me. Then you don't have anything left. And that is almost just as bad as the woman with too many
Too
things.
many clothes. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I
what's the worst
definitely,
closet you've ever seen?
whew, probably the worst one I've seen was this client had actually two closets. So she had her bedroom and then just like a spare bedroom. And just the overflow was was crazy. And then what made it even worse is that not only did she have so many things, it was repetitive of the same thing
Hmm.
over and over again, different colors, the same identical style. And it's just like, well, how are you going to step out of this comfort zone if you continually buy the same things over and over and over again, like full of like leggings. And it was so much stuff that we ended up having to get rid of. I'm like, you have to get into the place of understanding that if you want your style to elevate, the things that she's buying are not even things that are even in style anymore. So it's just like trying to pull teeth sometimes with people to get them outside of their own mindset of what they think style is because they're so accustomed to doing and wearing the same things over and over again. She just was a repeat offender of the same pieces in different colors, and she just would not do anything else outside of that. So we pretty much got rid of almost everything in her closet as well. Give or take a few things, but for the most part, we had to start all over again with her.
It almost it sounds like a bad habit. Like you
Yes,
think you wear a black t-shirt every day. Okay, so if you buy a new black t-shirt, it's better. It's not.
it's not.
It's not, girl,
It's
honey.
not.
It's and I've seen people like that who only wear black because they
I
think
believe it.
that's the right thing to do. It's the most slimming. They want to blend into the background. And again, it's never about the clothes. That's
No,
what's so funny.
never,
Never.
never.
And we always uncover because this is like therapy. Wouldn't you agree?
And I was getting ready to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. I'm like, where's like the psychologist of clothes and style? And that's where it starts. When I do the one-on-one consultations with clients, that's when everything kind of starts coming out. Because I want to, I want to know, what did you see, as growing up when it came to style. And some of the stories, they just blow my mind. But again, like we talked about, you don't know what you don't know. And in a lot of aspects, they're not in a household, or they don't have other women in their lives as they were growing up that did have style or that talked to them about clothes. So they only go by what they see, sometimes just in the world and on TV or in magazines, or just like they toss up a coin and decide, okay, this is what I'm going to start wearing. So
I'll never forget. I had a woman. She was in the army. She was out of the army, and then she wasn't a food scientist, but she was kind of like that. And she retired from the army, and then she worked in meat plants and meat factories. And I almost died on the floor. I
wow.
almost fell out of the chair. I was like, "I'm sorry. What do you mean you've never worn a dress? What do you mean it was that one-on-one.
Wow.
She just didn't know. And again, she knows now, but the point is you just don't know somebody's background.
You
And
really don't.
just because we're girly and we know, I understand that doesn't apply to everybody. So, all right,
No.
let's switch gears for just a minute. So, all right, so you're taking somebody shopping, and what are your go-tos? Do you go to a lot of stores? Do you pull clothes ahead of time? Tell us a little bit about how you pick what you pick.
Yeah, normally when I'm in person with a client, I do go ahead of time. So I've already have rapport with some of the majors, like the major retail stores. So I'll go in advance and I already will start a rack, have everything set up for the client. So say the next day when they meet up with me in store, we'll start at that particular store and then we'll make our way, through other stores. And it could be stores that we've already discussed or talked about. And I usually sprinkle in other stores again based off of their lifestyle and how they would like to see their personal style elevate. And we'll go in those other stores as well to make selections. But it's also like a walkthrough, and that's what I love about the in person because you get that one on one. Because I can start seeing a pattern even with their client, even though they're new, of what they gravitate to, what they like. And we talk about that, based off of again their body shape. So I'm educating them outside of just us, picking clothes. They have more clarity on why I picked the things that I picked based off of our conversations.
And most of the time, they like what you pick, right?
They do.
Yeah,
They do. But I always tell them to don't be scared to say something that you don't like. No one likes everything. So
right.
that doesn't hurt my feelings. This is how, as stylists, we also get clarity and understanding with that person to know exactly what it is that they like. So there's always something that you don't like.
Right. I mean, yeah, you're not going to like everything for
Everything,
sure.
right. But you have to be open. That's my biggest thing is to try. You don't know unless you try it.
I agree. You don't know. It's easy to say I don't like it, but it looks like shit on the hanger anyway. It's
Exactly.
these cheap ass plastic shitty hangers. Half the time it's not hung up right. It's not merchandised correctly. And so when somebody sees it, they're like, ugh, it looks terrible. And I'm like, it does look terrible, but I promise you it's not terrible. It's cute.
Right. It's
Um,
not. And
it's
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut
no,
you
no,
off.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, just to piggyback off of that, another thing is that when I am picking things, they don't know the sizes that I'm pulling. I'm a big advocate on stop
Mm.
being concerned about the tag in the pants. It's the brand, it's not your body. Let's not focus on that.
Say
We
that
focus on
again.
fit.
Say that again, please.
It is the tag, it is not your body. We're so hung up on what that size says in those clothes. It's crazy. And it's just like, it doesn't matter. I can go from a size 6 to a 10 to a 12. It just depends on the brand and how I want it to fit. I like my clothes oversized when it comes to certain things, especially my pants and jeans. So I'm never wearing my quote unquote size. I'm wearing almost 1 to 2 sizes bigger than what I actually wear and get them taken in by a tailor to fit my body. And that's another thing I tell people, tell clients. Anything can be tailored. It's important to have one. I think that's a must on everybody's list. You should have a tailor, go to the cleaners, someone that knows how to take in clothes. This way, anything that you wear is going to always fit you well because it's fitting your actual body and not what you picked off the hanger in the store.
Hallelujah. Okay. For saying hallelujah for thank you for saying that. Again, it doesn't matter what you say, what you think, what you see in the store, in and on the tag. It's all about fit. Shop for
All
fit
about this.
is shop for fit first. And there is no size police that's going to
No.
hold a gun to your head and say, "Show me what the size tag in your pants." No one's
No one's
doing
doing
that.
that. The only
Nobody's
person concerned about it is you.
I,
Nobody else cares.
on the flip side of that. It doesn't feel good, and I hear you, I see you, I feel you. It doesn't feel good if you're an 8 and then oops, these pants are a 10. I love these pants, but they're 10 and they fit me much better. You gonna live, okay? You gonna work it out and you gonna live because
Right.
the way you feel in those pants is better than trying to get into a size that does not compliment you or support you for where you are today. So why would you do that to yourself? Why?
Right. Like, why would you want to be uncomfortable? Because when things don't fit you well, when you're out and about, all you're doing is pulling it, poking at it the whole time. Who wants to do that the whole entire day or time that you're out somewhere because you're not comfortable in what you're wearing? So it only makes sense to wear the clothes that fit you.
How
Just point blank, period.
how do you handle people that say, I just need to be comfortable. I need to be comfortable. I need that is the biggest pet peeve I think I have, one of the biggest pet peeves. So how do you handle somebody like that who's really not willing to I mean, yeah, they'll buy new clothes, but they're on this comfort kick.
I really try to flip the script with that because I find the whole I want to be comfortable. A lot of the times, the comfort that they're talking about is always sweats. It's sweats, it's joggers, it's to them that is what comfort is. So my job is to kind of flip that and say, okay, well, that's great, as far as, sweats and things. I'm not knocking it, but it can't be what you wear every day. Like that's not the only form of comfort, so I really just map out different styles and when it comes to pants and the comfortability of those things or pieces that can also be presented in a way of being casual. Because I think a lot of times when you think about, well, I would say other people think about clothes, especially when it comes to trousers and things, they're just thinking like in a more professional aspect of it, and they're not seeing or understanding the vision of when you have versatility that can transpire into something that is also casual. You just have to learn and understand how to put it together where when you're not wearing it to work, that you can still wear that same piece and dress it in a different way that is more, I would say, casually chic to give you that comfortability aspect.
I love that term, casually chic.
Yes, that's my favorite. That's how I would describe my own style or form of dressing, and it kind of just stuck with me, throughout this process of being a stylist too. So
Well, I
casually
love
chic.
that, comfortably chic. How do you pull people out of the hole after COVID?
You know what's funny? I was actually working with people during COVID. So
Hmm.
even business wise, when I know a lot of stylists weren't at the time, they weren't even doing virtual. So I already was doing that. So it wasn't as difficult for me to pull people out of that habit of wanting to dress exactly what how we're talking about in regards to sweats and just not getting dressed. Or if they got dressed, if they had to, they were only getting dressed from the top up. Everything else
Right.
downstairs, everything else below was pajamas. I mean, some people weren't even wearing sweats. They were literally just wearing pajamas and had slippers on. And I'm like, so is this how you want to present yourself like every day just because you're home? Like when you don't feel good about what you're wearing, I was like that also will factor into what you do all day, which is absolutely nothing. And I know for myself, I had to, in the beginning, I had to catch myself a few times like, okay, Shannan, you need to put on some clothes, and get dressed, even though we're stuck in this house, because I still was not being as productive as I feel like I should have been because I wasn't dressing while I was in the house. So I understood it. And, just kind of explaining that to someone else, especially a client, then it's like, oh my gosh, she gets it. Like you understand. So it's relatable to them where they are more open now to say, okay, maybe I need to stop doing this and let's kind of transition and give me something else that's still I can wear in the house. I can still feel good and I can still look good and not feel like I'm overdressed, but not walking around in pajamas all day either.
It just then it's almost like people were talking about. I heard on an article somewhere, you know, women get up, they drink coffee, coffee, coffee until dinner time, then they drink wine, wine, wine until they go to bed. It's almost like, you get up, you get half dressed, you get halfway through your day, and then you can't wait to, it's just you're living for the next moment. You're not present. That's
Right,
basically what I'm saying.
right.
So if you're only half dressed, you're not present for your work people, for who's around you at your house. I think it's hard working from home. I do. I
Oh,
think it's really
absolutely.
hard, and it's unmotivating to get dressed.
Yeah, it is something that you have to be intentional about. Just like your wardrobe overall, you have to put in the intention on doing it. I feel like it's just like a muscle. When you don't use it, you kind of lose it. But once you start using it again, it becomes a habit. And you have to form that habit in order to not think about not getting dressed, because now your thought process is, this is a part of what I do every single day. Just like I brush my teeth and I wash my
Hmm.
face and I take a shower, you need to get dressed every day, and you need to think about it in that same aspect, or else you're going to always struggle with that.
And then you fall deeper, 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 into the hole, and it's harder to get you
Right.
out. Last question. I have a lot more, but we're running out of time, but this is very important. How do you get people over the money factor? I call it a financial
Mhm.
block. How do you get people to understand the value of buying new clothes and investing in a wardrobe?
For me, it's just, just explaining even to them that you have to put yourself first. So if you enjoy, say, getting your hair done, manicure, pedicures, massages, whatever those things are, that's an investment. And that's still an investment in yourself. So why would you negate doing the same thing when it comes to your wardrobe and your personal style? Because that transcends into your profession. That transcends into how people perceive and see you on a day-to-day basis. And if you don't feel like that is important, then that's going to be something that you're going to always struggle with. Because even the way that you dress, even though people don't want to hear that all the time, it changes the trajectory of even your salary. How you elevate, and if you're working in corporate, even if you are your own brand like we are, we can't just go out looking like anything. How am I saying I'm a stylist and yet I don't even get dressed every day? Or when you see me, I'm just, just half doing it. So I have to really explain, or I do really explain to them that importance of really focusing in on you and making it an investment. Because if you think you are important enough, then you'll make that investment in yourself.
And believe me, I have my calculated crazy outfits. Okay.
We
So
all do.
I
We
know
all do.
exactly where I'm going, where I ain't dressed. Okay. I ain't dressed.
Exactly.
And I better not be seeing nobody out. Okay. Because I might be running to the post office and I don't feel like getting dressed. That is allowed.
Absolutely.
That is allowed. However, when you are dressed for the day and you're not coming home, or you are going from here to here to here to here, and then you're seeing people, unfortunately, and you're like, oh my God. And then somebody says, come meet me for lunch. And you're like, well, I'm not dressed. And you go
Stress.
anyway. That's what we're talking about, right?
Exactly.
That's what we're talking about.
Exactly.
So if you're going to be out, you got to be dressed. Now,
Right.
if
If
you're
you
going to run to
outside, you need to be
the,
dressed.
if you go past your driveway, your ass is out. Okay. Okay. So get, put on some pants, put on some
Yes.
pants and some lipstick. That's all I'm saying.
Please.
And if
Please
you
and
see
thank
my
you.
ass at the post office and I look crazy, just pretend that I am somebody else, and then you can call me out in private. Okay. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I've just said that because I did go to the post office yesterday and I look crazy. But that's besides the point. But okay, we get it. And I want you to leave us with like a mantra, a style tip, something that you live by every day. And I'll give you an example. So I've been asking people on interview, they're like, "What are you talking about?" So I'll let me let me tell you what mine is. Mine is if you don't elevate your style as you age, you're stuck, and your image can and will hold you back. So, is your image holding you back? That is the question. If I look at pictures of you from 15 years ago, you have the exact same hairstyle, you have the same clothes, you have the same. You think that's good, it's not good. That means that you're stuck. So, tell us something that you live by or that a little nugget that you leave your clients with.
Well, mine is I believe that I always say that I believe that everyone has personal style. You just need the clarity and the guidance in order to get there.
That's
And
exactly
once
right.
and once you got it, you got it. You
Mm-hmm.
just have to, you just have to educate yourself on it and start enjoying the process. It's not as hard as we think it is. It's just learning what that is for you as a person because everyone's style is personal to them.
Is very different. And I could not have said it any better. And again, people always say, I look great 20 years ago. Well, then you're going to look great again because all I have
Right.
to do is dust it off. Okay. It's in there.
It's
All we got,
there.
it's in there. All we got to do is dust it off. And 90% of women that I work with, they go, I got it. I get it. I got it. And they just have to be reminded. You know what I mean? They just have
Right.
to be reminded. Um, there are a few people who, takes a little bit more work, but most people, they're like, I got it. I got it. Because they're just not sure. And once I say that's good, they go, okay, great. And then they understand. So
Right.
this has been so fun talking to
Yes.
you.
I've
Um,
enjoyed it.
I want to talk to you again. This is so great. We are style sisters.
Yes, we are.
We are. I'm so excited to meet you. And I am so grateful to you and the Fashion Besties, all of my fashion besties that listen to me every week. We are so grateful for your time and to know you. And tell us how we can find you and connect with you.
Sure. So you can find me on Instagram. I'm mainly on Instagram, other platforms, but I'm really more active on Instagram. So you can find me at The Classic Consultant, and even my website is theclassicconsultant.net.
I love that.
Thank
I'm
you.
loving this journey for us. Shannan, this has been so nice, and we appreciate all your style tips, your fashion help, your info, all of the inspo that you've given us. We're going to be back. We're going to be back for more. So don't worry. We hope that you get all the success in this world that the world has to offer you and you get all the clients, and I hope you make all your clients listen to this podcast
I sure
because
will.
because this is free fashion help. This is free fashion help. So we really appreciate you and we love that you are making people gorgeous one day, one client at a time, because God knows in this world we need it. We need some fabulous people. Thank you for making the world fabulous. We need to continue to do that. And I hope that you will really come back to us and give us some more information. My name is Holly Cates. We love the Closet Consultant. Please check her out, Shannan Allen from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is not going to be the last time we're going to talk, but
No.
hopefully she will not be upset that I have her information now. She's gonna be like, "Can you stop calling me?" But y'all check us out on Instagram. Please make sure you're watching this video on our YouTube channel and really reach out and engage with us. And don't forget to leave us a review. That would be amazeballs. Y'all have a fabulous, fashionable week. This has been Holly Cates, the only Holly you need to know. And as always, the best friend you never knew you needed in fashion. See you next week. Bye.